How's it going, guys? Cody guys back again, dropping yet another video. Right guys, this is a video, as you can see from the title, on Britain's most dangerous prisoner. Now it's not Charlie Bronson. Charlie Bronson has been termed Britain's most violent prisoner. Charlie Bronson, also known as Charles Salvador now, and the person in question here know each other. He was locked up alongside each other for a very, very long time. But then Charlie Bronson, I think he attacked the Deputy Governor at the Monster Mansion, also known as Wakefield Prison, and he was shipped out. This is from Wikipedia and also from an interview that his nephew did with the Sun newspaper. This bit's from Wikipedia though. Robert John Maudsley, that's his name, born 1953, is a British serial killer responsible for the murders of 4 people. He committed 3 of these murders in prison after receiving a life sentence for a single count of murder. He was alleged to have eaten part of the brain of one of the 3 men he killed in prison, which earned him the nickname Hannibal the Cannibal among the British press. However, the Press Complaints Commission records that papers were advised that the allegations were untrue according to the autopsy report. Like I say, he was born in 1953 in Toxteth in Liverpool. His early life: Robert Maudsley was one of 12 children, born in Toxteth area of Liverpool, and spent most of his early years in a Catholic orphanage in Crosby, Merseyside. It was called Nazareth House, right? At age 8, Maudsley was retrieved by his parents and subject to routine physical abuse until he was eventually removed from their care by social services. Maudsley later claimed he was raped as a child, and such early abuse may have left deep psychological scars. Obviously, of course it would. During the late 1960s, as a teenager, Maudsley worked as a rent boy in London to support his drug addiction. He was forced to seek psychiatric help after several suicide attempts. It was during these talks with doctors he claimed to hear voices telling him to kill his parents. He is quoted as saying, "If I had killed my parents in 1970, none of these people would have died." Murders. In 1974, Maudsley berated a man who picked him up for sex after the man showed Maudsley pictures of children he had sexually abused. Maudsley was arrested and later sentenced to life in prison with a recommendation he should never be released. Maudsley was sent to Broadmoor, where in 1977 he and another inmate, David Cheeseman, locked themselves in a cell with a third patient, a convicted child molester, and tortured him to death over a 9-hour period. After the incident, Maudsley was convicted of manslaughter and sent to Wakefield Prison. He disliked the transfer and made it clear he wanted to return to Broadmoor. One afternoon in 1978, Maudsley killed 2 fellow prisoners at Wakefield Prison. His first victim of the day was Salney Darwood, aged 46, a murderer convicted of the manslaughter of his wife. Maudsley had invited Darwood to his cell, where he gyrated him and stabbed him before hiding his body under his bed. He attempted to lure more prisoners into his cell, but all refused. Maudsley then paralleled the wing, hunting for another victim, eventually cornering and stabbing prisoner Bill Roberts to death. He hacked at Roberts' skull with a makeshift dagger and smashed his head against the wall. Maudsley then calmly walked into the screws office, placed the dagger on the table, and told them at the next roll count that they would be too short. Roll count is a thing in prison where every wing does it at a certain time of day, could be 2-3 times a day. They walk around the wing, they look into the cells, count how many prisoners are there, they radio it into control to make sure all prisoners are accounted for. So like he said, Maudsley told them the next roll count they would be 2 prisoners short. Solitary confinement. In 1983, Maudsley was deemed too dangerous for a normal wing. Prison authorities built a 2-cell unit in the basement of Wakefield Prison, dubbed the Glass House, noted for its resemblance to Hannibal Lecter's cell in the film Silence of the Lambs, to house Maudsley for the continuation of his confinement. At around 5.5 metres by 4.5 metres, the 2 cells are slightly larger than an average and have a large bulletproof window so he can be observed. The only furnishings are a table and chairs, both made of compressed cardboard. The toilet and sink are bolted to the floor, whilst his bed is a concrete slab. A solid steel door opens into a small cage with the cell encased in thick perplex with a small slot at the bottom through which guards pass in food and other items. He remains in the cell for 23 hours a day. During his daily hour of exercise, he is escorted to the yard by 6 prison officers. He is not allowed any contact with any other inmates. In March 2000, Maudsley unsuccessfully pleaded for the terms of his solitary confinement to be relaxed or to be allowed to commit suicide via a cyanide capsule. He also asked for a pet budgie, which was also denied. In 2010, Maudsley made a plea to play board games with the prison staff to relieve his boredom, again, which was denied. He spent, guys, 40 years, right, continuous in solitary confinement, or nearly 15,000 days, right, in solitary. He is Britain's longest serving prisoner in solitary confinement continually, and he's the second in the world after a prisoner in America. So he's the first in UK for the longest continued time in solitary confinement, and the second in the world behind this infamous prisoner in America. His nephew Gavin said he lives in his own little world and he's got a TV, his music and his PlayStation 2. His favourite game is Call of Duty. Now he's 64 now, 65 I think. And rather than going out for his 1 hour a day exercise, he actually chooses to waive that, stay in his cell and play Call of Duty. Like I say, it's his favourite game according to his nephew. He says there are so many bad people in the real world, he would rather be on his own. Maudsley has a genius level of IQ and enjoys fine art, poetry and classical music. Maudsley's nephew Gavin revealed that Robert recently got into a furious spat with Britain's most violent prisoner Charles Bronson. This was from 2017. The feud began after Maudsley rejected Bronson's attempt to befriend him, and Gavin said, "I can often hear Charlie Bronson when I go to visit my uncle, as they are held on the same wing. They can't see each other, but they communicate by shouting. They have times when they're okay and times when they're enemies, but they have arguments because Charlie is such a nutter and he's always badgering him, saying let's team up." Charlie once sent a watch telling a screw, "Give that to Bob," obviously Robert, Bob, "my uncle. Said, I'm never getting out. What do I want a watch for? Give it back." Charlie got offended and started shouting, "I'm going to kill you when I see you, Bob." Bob jokingly replied, "You've never killed anyone, you soft cunt." So that is Robert Maudsley, guys, right? Like I say, you can see pictures of him at the beginning. I'll put 2 links in the description below, one to the Wikipedia page and one to the page reference, the interview that his nephew Gavin did. His nephew Gavin lives in Warrington. He goes to visit him quite regularly, and like I say, he's still in Monster Mansion, which is also obviously HMP Wakefield. Charlie Bronson's no longer there. Charlie got shipped out after his marriage and stuff. He wasn't allowed the pictures of the wedding to Paula Williamson, and then he ended up attacking the deputy governor, I believe, and he was shipped out. So that was that. He's now in Franklin Prison. According to media reports, Robert Maudsley is still in Wakefield in this. Like I say, he's been nicknamed Hannibal the Cannibal. Like I say, the steel door opens up and then a small cage, and then you've got the perplex screen and stuff. They don't even have physical contact with him. They put the food under the door. By law, you've got to have at least 1 hour out of your cell a day whilst he's in solitary. He waives that right, instead choosing to play Call of Duty on his PlayStation 2. And keeping himself to himself and stuff. Now, that amount of time, campaigners have campaigned for Robert Maudsley because the amount of time in solitary confinement has a detrimental effect on your mental health. It's quite abundantly clear that the man's got issues and stuff. Now, do you look at him and think serial killer, or do you look at him and think, well, the first man he killed on the road was a paedophile, the second one was a wife murderer, the third one was a paedophile, and then, like I say, the fourth one was that the guy that he attacked and smashed his head over the head with a hammer. He's obviously got a problem with people that sexually abuse children. Now, it's quite abundantly clear, growing up in a Catholic orphanage, easy for me to say, and then his parents came back for him at the age of 8 and they routinely abused him. And like I said, he claimed he was raped and stuff like that. You're inclined to believe him because obviously that had a detrimental effect on his mental health, left deep psychological scars, and then he himself went on to obviously murder these 4 people. One as a free man on the road, working as an escort, as a rent boy, trying to pay for his drug addiction, because obviously he was taking drugs to deal with these psychological issues that he obviously had because of his childhood. And then he killed 3 men whilst he was in prison. Even Broadmoor washed his hands of him and said, look, they put him in Wakefield prison, right? And then, like I said, when he went to Wakefield and stuff, obviously he wanted to be moved back to Broadmoor. So did he kill these people because he wanted to go back to Broadmoor, or was he sending a message, or he just had enough? Like I said, he was trying to lure people into his cell willy-nilly, and prisoners obviously was like, you fucking know, you're all right, thank you. From the pictures and stuff like that, the pictures are very old and stuff. He's not been pictured in over 20 years. He was believed to have taken part in a documentary, which to my knowledge never actually aired. So that's why the pictures look so old and stuff like that. He's not had an haircut in like stupid amount of years, because when he was on the wings and stuff, prison barbers wouldn't touch him. He's now in solitary and stuff like that. Apparently he's made friends with cockroaches. He's in the basement of the obviously Monster Mansion, Wakefield prison. Him and Charlie were down there together. Him and Charlie had spats and stuff like that. And then Charlie's been shipped out and stuff. So, but that amount of time in solitary confinement would have had a detrimental effect on your mental health. You would be literally climbing the walls and stuff. The fact that he was hearing voices as well. And then, like I said, he's in his own little world now where he watches TV. He likes fine art, poetry, music, classical music. He's got a genius IQ. And like I say, he's just rotting away in that cell. And it's sad to see, guys. Is he a hero? Is he a British serial killer? You'll have to let me know. Obviously, his crimes and stuff like that speak for themselves. Like I said, guys, I'll leave a link in the description below so you can read it at your own leisure. Have you heard of Robert Maudsley? Have you ever heard of him? A lot of people haven't. I've heard about him. I know about him from years ago, but I've never actually done a vlog about Robert Maudsley and stuff. Like I say, in my opinion, as someone that corresponds with serial killers and stuff like that, he was a product of his environment. He was sexually abused and stuff like that. He'd obviously suffered immeasurable violence, psychological, physical, sexual, and emotional abuse. And like I say, it left a deep scar on the man psychologically. So much so that he went on to kill people that abused children, killed the wives, and everything else. Like I said, he's killed 3 men whilst behind bars, guys. You'll have to let me know what you think about the vlog, about the articles and stuff, and put your comments in the comment section below, guys. If there's another video you want me to do, please feel free to drop me a comment, and I'll obviously do you a video. Like, comment, subscribe. Cody out. Bye.